All right. Hello and welcome back to TechnoPoverty. I'm Henry.
And I'm Jacob.
I almost said I was Jacob.
I didn't. I mean, I did.
You're doing your job. I am not. What is our job tonight, Jacob?
Zelda.
Zelda. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're talking The Hobbit. We're playing Zelda. We're talking a bit of Tolkien. We have made it to the 6th dungeon in 1986's The Legend of Zelda for the NES. We've been talking a bit about Link never growing up, the element of choice throughout the Zelda franchise, and how when you're robbed of choice, you don't really get to have the same experiences as if you get a sense of your own autonomy, etc., etc. Mm-hmm. Let's get back into the game.
Back in it.
That was the wait screen. Apologies about that, but we're here to Zelda proper, and we're going to Zelda proper. Now, the reason I picked The Hobbit over Lord of the Rings is both because The Hobbit is more focused on Bilbo's sort of coming-of-age endeavor, but also Lord of the Rings gets misconstrued as a story that is pro-conquest too often. You know, you'll see certain types of nerds online who use it as like the hero narrative. You have to get the sword and save your nation, and you know there can be some nationalist overtones to the sorts of readings people want to press upon the work. That's not what the work is, but I do want to cite that as just an example for death of the author, the way works can get beyond the intent of the creator and take on a life or interpretation of their own. You get people like Varg Vikernes naming his band Burzum. It's orcish, it's black metal, it's white nationalism. We know about that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's too much of a leap whenever I'm talking about the way people interpret, fantasy narratives. Take them too seriously, take that quest for conquest, that wielding of the sword is like this hyper-phallocentric need to conquer. Bilbo does not go on any sort of warlike quest. I can't hammer, again, he gets knocked out during the Battle of Five Armies. That is not the priority of The Hobbit. The Hobbit's about this internal realization, this internal growth of the character. He goes there and back again, and he is in the same place at the end, but a different person in spirit. I mean, it's the most basic observation, but I want to get at this nugget of internality that the story is getting at, because it's the exact opposite of what Zelda's getting at, and why I keep hammering on this idea of Link not growing up. Jacob, do you remember the first time the world just didn't make sense to you in the way where you're just like, wait, but we have laws and protocol and order for stuff. Why logic no work? Just something absurd in your reality that made you realize oh yeah, math is just a suggestion.
In a very I guess it was dealing with a lot of people who are homeless when we were much younger, just realizing that that we keep poor people around for a reason, and it's we can get rid of these things, but there's a service for it. There's a reason why we keep it around.
Yeah, you kind of had a moment where what was legal and what was ethical didn't kind of match up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
These are two different ideas, and but they really shouldn't be, because it seems like a very obvious thing.
See, and I think when you witness things like that, it really does make you realize both that, yeah, okay, the law's flexible, the law's a suggestion, but you can actively, it needs to be acted on, Things reality doesn't just have that base operating oh, the good things are going to happen because they're good. That's not how.
It's unfortunately not how it goes.
Yeah, things are towards entropy. Everything falls apart without maintenance. It took me forever to get into Lord of the Rings because I felt it was dry and too much about history and world building. But then, I don't know, I guess after I matured a bit and I guess thought about the things we're thinking about right now with the way you need an active hand in things and things fall apart and laws and order and systems of things need to be enforced or managed, not in like an authoritarian force, but like, hey man, like nobody's gonna do the things that like you want to do unless you do them. Like you actively need to participate in the present moment. When we talk about Le Guin and presence over progress and the left hand of darkness, we're getting at this. If you're just a boy like Link, always following orders and never having these distant moments, you don't really get to question yourself and what you believe and really understand yourself. You just think of yourself as the top cop, you know?
Yeah, you never learn what you believe.
And I think in American culture in particular, there's such an anxiety over being wrong. Which, you know, and at certain times, like, yes, you need to make the right decisions because trolley problem lives at stake.
Yeah, for sure. There's certain
if you're you know, a doctor or someone with a firearm, like the decisions you're making do need to be considered and weighted. But in like having fun or being silly or temporarily embarrassing yourself while trying something, that sense of being wrong, I think, is too frowned upon.
Yeah, like that's how. Finding out what's wrong, you learn why things are right as well.
Yes.
Like, and I think that is equally as important.
Which is also a case for like art depicting the bad, or like art that has a questionable moral stance.
Yes. Yeah, like how can you not have something with that? Like you're just not supposed to depict like villains. It'd just be like, it's insane.
I mean, my pet theory has always been to go to like media that only does things that morally refer me as like the easiest like escapist vessel, as far as like I don't want to be distracted by the context of the real world. Like, I want something that goes down smooth. I think there's a trick to like good fantasy that does go down smooth. I just think it still wrinkles like metaphor in real world context. People just don't notice.
Yeah.
That's why. And then, you know, 20 years later, everybody's like, old art wasn't political, was it? Like, have you seen RoboCop recently?
Never.
There's some secret knack I'm not getting here. I'm just supposed to bomb. I must say, I'm fighting the Wizrobes off quite well, considering I don't have the giant shield that blocks their energy.
3256, and good at embarrassing yourself. You know, that's pretty good. I will say, I really like
secrets where fairies don't live.
I hate the feeling of being embarrassed for other people, but I also kind of enjoy it as well. Like watching,
like cringe, like
like Nathan, the rehearsal, stuff like that, where you're just like, why are you doing
that?
this?
Yeah,
like these, you know, the social cues and social etiquettes we all agree to, and then to see someone push boundaries as to like why we do these things. But like you learn so much more about people and situations because of that. It's fascinating.
No, yeah, the rehearsal's very good at getting people in zones of like self-interrogation of like why they're performing the way they are.
Yes, exactly. It's more, it's never just like accepted at face value.
Okay, I just went in a huge circle. I thought there was something there. I think it was just the wand I was going for there.
Police with cyber trucks. Police headquarters in LA where the architecture looks straight out of RoboCop and now they have cyber trucks. That's
bum 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 bum.
Yes. I'm just remembering all these people just like making fun of electric vehicles for the longest time.
Yeah, when you don't know your own internal value system, like you will just like do whatever the wind blows. One day you're gonna be saying facts don't care about your feelings. The next day you're gonna constantly have a mother who steals money from her grandkids going on national TV to cry about what happened to her daughter for the furthering of a fascist agenda.
Yeah, June's wild too. And speaking of just like people just not knowing things, I know of multiple older women who believe they are in a relationship with Elon Musk right now through text.
Oh, just because they've been like catfished by like AI bots and such?
Yeah, which is just like a whole other interesting dynamic of like a world, things I never thought we would see in the world. That we have to be like, I have to watch out and make sure Grandma doesn't get catfished by.
Yeah, your dad really thinks that 19-year-old girl is talking to him, which,
yes.
First off, she's not. Second off, why does your dad go? Why is that the trap your dad is falling for?
Yeah, what is your dad doing?
In the same way that you never grow up if you don't internalize, you don't want to grow up. You don't want to feel those choices. You get that cynical kind of like, oh, do I have to live through history? Like, yeah, things always happen. Like, yeah, things are always happening.
It's always happening, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This is something we'll get more into with Hunter S. Thompson and J.R.R. and Jack Black, but remember, even in learning history, you're only learning like 10% of what was going on at the time. There's always noise.
Yeah, it's always the written record too, which like, again, the written record is
there
like
were people who were illiterate alive at the time, living their lives in ways that weren't recorded. Even the semi-literate who couldn't afford to get their books published.
Yeah.
We are kind of in an information age now, being able to see just more people's opinions and articulations, even if they're dumb, because of the technology at our hands. And yet the internet, it gets worse year by year because it's trying to be fenced in and privatized in ways that just like don't make sense. I saw an article about Mark Zuckerberg talking about like resetting people's Facebook just to like reboost engagement, and it's like, so you want to like purge people's friends lists and stuff and just tell them like start again just so they can run on your treadmill again to like regenerate ad revenue, I guess. What is the teleology of what you're doing? Like, the reason I stopped using Facebook is because it stops acting as a digital yellow pages, and it was either, I mean, now it's nothing but AI spam, but like it was, for a while there, the algorithm was really geared towards getting like the two people who were like the most furthest apart from each other on the political spectrum in your friends group arguing in your comment section.
Which everyone loves.
By design, yeah, and that's the thing too, is so because it's through your mutual friends and stuff, you'd end up just yelling at people you barely knew, and it became, less a forum where those kind of frustrations on the internet dissipate, and more like a boiling resentment circle in your semi-social circle.
Yeah.
Aunts arguing with uncles, arguing with cousins, arguing with like people you know from your potluck that you have with your neighborhood.
It's like whenever you have like friends from group A meet friend group B sort of situation. Yeah, but like it's not even like you're hanging out, you're just kind of like, it's like people are throwing up like
for the sake of agitation over like the election too. I do very much believe it was just a bad like that soured a lot of people on Facebook. And then of course there's was it Cambridge Analytica data reveal.
Yeah.
All right, we got the big shield, we got the sword. I have the wand, which is a nice little projectile blast. Let's get back into that dungeon.
Blast that dungeon boy.
Still noting I want that bomb upgrade at level 5, should I get the 100 rubies to spare.
And yeah, 3256, the new season of the rehearsal's out, and I can't wait to check it out as well. Cave Mystery, what crazy grandma are you talking about? A couple crazy grandmas who think they're in a relationship with it. Oh, and apparently 3256 is in a relationship with Elon Musk, who claims to be the original one with the actual Elon. Well, tell him to stop. Just tell him to stop everything.
Haha, big shield blocks centaur swords.
Nice. Yeah, he definitely doesn't listen to any of his partners. I'm sure Elon will definitely believe the junior logic there.
All right, let's get to the spider boss. Fun fact, the boss of this level, as stated by the old man we stumbled across, so it's not even spoilers, is Goma. The very same Goma, that's the first boss of Ocarina of Time. Modeled the Great Spider Demon, much like Shelob in Lord of the Rings. We're in it for the long haul.
Really. All these dungeons.
The most terrifying enemy, the like.
Yeah, I don't like it.
You'll notice it from other games as well. Always munching your shield.
More like don't like, you know?
Oof, I'm getting hit. Taking hits. Taking too many hits. I'll never make it to the boss in this condition. Oh, I guess I don't have to refight the Gleeok, at least. Just gonna dodge these likes. Don't want to deal with them at all. Ouch. All right.
Man. For real, though, 3256 is banned from Twitter? Permanent shitless for criticizing him before he bought Twitter ever since he took over. I've been banned for life. I mean, that's pretty great, not gonna lie.
Yeah, you're not missing much. It's become a lot of spam.
The entire thing, which is kind of annoying.
I still have some engagement there. I do it for promoting the channel and such, but I mean, Blue Skies had more like personal interactions and actual like meaningful stuff go down.
Yeah. I feel like more of what I'm getting over there. I do find more topics that I want to follow on there as well.
I realize like Twitter has just become like, I look at it with the curiosity I used to look at something like 4chan with, where I'm like, what are the nut jobs saying today? Let's go take a look.
Yeah, exactly.
And usually you can get in there real quick and see, Andrew Schultz talking about how the Democrats used to be cool, but not anymore. So that's why he's a Republican, even though I remember Tipper Gore running the PMRC, and just, Hillary Clinton's whole super predators bit. I don't know when the Democrats were cool. He talks about Bill Clinton getting a blowjob like he was doing it on the daily. It's like, no, dude, they kicked him out of office for that. Like, it wasn't like a normalized thing. The Democrats were all saying like, yeah, we do this. Like, no, they got mad and like retreated from that into respectability with Gore.
That's true. We're also talking about a consensual blowjob between adults. Which is a wild thing. Yeah, Republicans are super cool.
Right?
They're like the coolest dudes.
Why would you say any of them are cool? Like, it's the political apparatus. That's not the point of it. Like, the cult of celebrity narcissism for politicians is such a the least charismatic pool of people you can do that with.
Yeah. It's got people such as J.D. Vance.
Criticize influencer culture and, streamer, internet, TikTok brain, but like people are grabbing eyes. It's the whole Michael Bay thing. Like they know what the people want. Yeah, it's frustrating that there's misogyny in it and that resonates and is what gets a 13-year-old boy to look up from his phone. How do we address that? But like,
yeah.
Again, to talk about looking at the bad things, Jacob, like sometimes it's just like, okay, this is the weird kind of where the culture's at and vibrating thing. I'm trying to remember what type beat I'm on, and I'm grinding cash to buy a red potion so that I can then go kill Goma. And wallet permitting, I want to buy the bomb upgrade as well, but I don't think that's happening this session. I think what we're going to end up doing is beating Dungeon 6 and saving for the night.
Yeah. Man, I'm still, as I'm playing this, I'm just really excited about these little maps. I'm very surprised that that's the thing that's really stuck with me about having them all of these games that I've seen over the years.
Little maps?
Yeah, just a little overhead map of going on of where you are in the adventure land. Overhead. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. We'll have to play Super Metroid at some point to show the Super Nintendo evolution of this, because again, as I stated before, Link to the Past, I don't think has a very curious high roll or curiosity-inducing high roll. But Super Metroid is the Super Nintendo game, and one of the best video games as far as designing a planet that feels organic and alien. The way it's designed doesn't feel like a bunch of puzzles made for the player. It feels like, you know, there's multiple paths through it. It's a speedrunner's delight. But because there's multiple paths through it, it feels very natural. Instead of it being like, oh, this world was crafted with one specific path for the player to walk, it's like, oh, this is an interlocking system of caves.
Yeah. Alright.
A trick that I think it is still the best at pulling off, even though I do like Hollow Knight and Dark Souls 1. It's just a shame that one of the best search action games of all time was also one of the first. Because it's such a high watermark that even modern games... I love Hollow Knight, I think it's a little overstuffed on content, and I don't think it's... Well, no, it's pretty good at the multiple approaches too, from what I understood. I only run through it once in its entirety. But it is also so kind of big and dense as far as what you have to collect and level up that it's not as replayable as Super Metroid to me, which is far more like simplistic in its power-ups and less dense.
Yeah.
But it lets you breathe more because of that. Super Metroid's also so good, it made people think the Metroid franchise had gas in it beyond as much as, like, it, well, also the lead on it passed, but...
Oh, yeah.
I do think there's a misconstrual that, like, Metroid as a brand is a sign of quality, when it's like, well, there's, like, two really good ones, and then it's about, like, other Nintendo franchises that aren't Zelda or Mario for me. I'm so close to having the rupees for this health potion. And then I'm going to slay this spider. I wish I had that bomb upgrade, because boy, am I picking up bombs. Oh.
God, I love these chiptunes.
Yeah, it is a testament to the strength of the melody that it hasn't destroyed our brains with its repetition yet, you know?
Absolutely. Same with the sound effects. Because like nowadays when you have something where you're repeating the same action in a video game, they'll have like 3 different sounds to accompany it, so you don't get bored with the same sound. But like, it really does a good job of just not annoying the hell out. I mean, I'm sure my parents were annoyed at some point with video games, but like...
Is it every 8
Pretty
enemies there's a bomb drop Kingdom Mystery, or every 8th enemy type
Reveal it, King of Mystery.
Yes, tell us your secrets.
Is there a 3D version of this game? Have people done that yet?
I'm sure in some way it may have been recreated in the Doom engine or some such.
Yeah. So just a pure curiosity. Damn, of course it died out.
There was a remake for the Super Nintendo on the Satellite in Japan, which was like an internet subscription service for the Super Nintendo. But it just updates the graphics pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah, every 8 enemy drops a bomb, the speed run, like...
I did not crank Spirit by Deep Purple yet, I should.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Can't play music on the stream, sadly. Don't want to get copyright struck, but...
Yeah, unfortunately. Even though music's a part of our daily lives.
Maybe post that to the Discord.
Yeah, right. Some YouTube yangs for some art recs that we can listen
just
to.
in the music channel. Cool.
Yeah, there's some very, very funny memes in the Discord as well. I've been having some good laughs while at work. Yeah.
I have been meaning to look more into that. The Discord's for our Patreon members, but I did see some people, like someone watching a movie not too long ago on Twitch, just straight up. And I'm like, well, I prefer it on the theater just because it's easier to schedule out, organize,
Yeah.
and let run. I don't so much want to, I don't like talking during movies is also part of why I like doing it on the Discord that way. That way it's just up in the room for people to watch.
Yeah. Jump on in whenever they are ready.
If you are quick enough at destroying the like, it doesn't eat your shield, even when it eats you, which just happened there.
Oh, nice.
The shield is still intact.
We like that, don't we, folks?
See a like that.
Shoot him, McGavin.
Ow, I took too many hits. Too many hits that time. Yeah, throw that Deep Purple on the Discord.
Deep Purple.
And to circle back to another game we played, Mega Man X, we've been talking about choice a lot, and that element of choice, and something separating X from the original Mega Man is that he has the choice. We kept getting asked a Ship of Theseus question while talking about Isaac Asimov with where the human begins, robot begins, where the laws of robotics would apply to a human who is slowly transitioning into a positronic brain. I think it's interesting how that question is really just getting at what we define as human. At what point does a thing coalesce into having characteristics we consider human, or at what point does a human lose enough characteristics that they're disqualified from being human? A very dangerous question, because you start dehumanizing people, and who knows what you start thinking you can do to them without loss of your own humanity.
Yup.
I should have taken the potion. $3256, sadly, yes. If you just watch this Joe Rogan performance and you just see the very clear, pitiable, trackable flaws of a man trying to reclaim his youth, he's achingly human, just painfully so.
Yeah.
You know, like his fake tan, the whole, hey guys, I do martial arts now.
The ex-wife,
I mean, the divorce thing was not true. That was an internet joke, but that so many people believed it to be true or willed it to be. Like, it tracks within his character. Like, there's an animus there. There's a soul. Like, the man has cultivated decisions and choices and like drawn a psyche.
he's had embarrassing human moments.
Yeah. Made it our problem too. So
Yeah, that's the worst part. Is that's really my biggest issue with a lot of things. When your fetishes become my issues, I become upset. You know.
See, I agree with that in good faith, and that is such an argument used in bad faith to just like for people to be turfs and shit, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, it's like if you do want to start talking about like insincere terms, gender and sexual identity construction, like yes, let's acknowledge how the patriarchy has constructed such a phallocentric, fuck or be fucked system. Why is it that the sword is romanticized and the conquest and
Yeah.
exceptionalism when we need to have a baseline foundation of stability for everyone, not just our, smartest and biggest boys.
It's also just like when everyone benefits, we all benefit. Like, it is a very...
Yeah, the logistics of everything relies on labor, skilled labor. There's the whole, skilled labor versus unskilled labor. That's a false dichotomy.
Yep, that doesn't exist. All
If
labor is
people are
skilled in
doing
some way.
labor, they are doing labor.
Yeah, exactly. That's just like it is inherently inside of it.
I'm not doing labor in-game because I'm clearly doing brain labor rambling about this stuff. I should really lock in on this dungeon.
You gotta show that.
I'm not being a good Link right now, which, again, the Hobbit is named the Hobbit. It is Bilbo. He is the title of the story. The Lord of the Rings is Sauron. The Legend of Zelda is Zelda's legend. If Link's making no choice of his own and only doing the directives of others, is it his story? No, it's Zelda's story. Link is forgotten by history. Link can be named whatever. He's whatever disposable boy hero the moment needs. You can name him Dix.
It's me!
You can call him
Dix.
Walter. I don't know if Walter fits on the NES. There might be a character limit. But there's something kind of cynical to that. Link is supposed to be you, but also the world and scope of Zelda is such that the name's kind of useless or pointless. Like, sure, name yourself Link. It's just going to be Mad Libs. Like, there's nothing to name yourself in an individuated manner. It's going to be the same story.
Yeah, every single time.
Yes, I know for the sake of managing multiple people playing the same cartridge, and I mean, it is nice to personalize and name the story, but consider the disposability of your place in the story and how there's that ironic tension there. It's never Link's story because, hey, they might not name him Link. It's not the workers' company, it's the owner's company.
Don't we all know it?
Ho ho.
Ho ho! This guy.
Don't ask me, folks, I just adventure here. noticed these guys don't break into bats anymore because the Master Sword is stronger than the Magic Sword.
Oh, nice. So it defeats that bit of it.
Yeah, so there's no like RPG leveling up, but like through the weapons, getting rid of the villains faster. There's a lot of cool haptic growth you just see. You see your health bar get bigger. You see the enemies that used to break into smaller things just die.
Yeah.
There's a nice sense of scale to the power you're getting. It's a nice trip.
Power trip.
That is something I kind of wish other Zelda games did that I don't really see. I'm thinking about like how Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom gave you bigger integer sword items. But it really is something in the bestiary, and it adds a lot of character to the bestiary when like, you know, you whack a mole and it breaks into like a Diglett, but then like you get a stronger item and you whack that mole and it just explodes.
Yeah. It's like, alright. And you can feel it viscerally.
I just eliminated 2 likes that ate me, and I still have my shield. What a miracle.
That is real good.
Alright, I believe I've gotten everything for this dungeon, which was the wand. Because of Heguile, I can just go straight to the end here, so here we go.
Nice.
What about that one Zelda where they call you thief for the rest of the game if you steal something, lol? That's Link's Awakening, and that's a great consideration.
That's so funny and so Nintendo.
To bring up Freddy Got Fingered, which we watched over the weekend, and its parody of like the masculine quest, yes, labeling you thief, like the role assignment. Within Freddy Got Fingered, you know, Gordy is trying to do right by his dad, and his dad just wants him to have a prestigious and impressive job. And because of that pressure, Gordy's not even trying to figure out what he's good at, he's just trying to do the job. He's putting on the various suits and masks, and you know, it's hyperbolic exaggeration what he does with those masks in the movie, but it is lampooning this idea of just like not making choices and being on autopilot and just wearing the persona. Which is why it's so great that the love interest in that movie, Betty, is not interested in any of what Gordy's trying to do for his father. You know, there's a date scene where he's talking about his investment portfolio and he's like saying he's a big businessman and he's talking super hollow businessman terms. It's a great parody of how like crypto bros and NFT people talk now, where it's just a bunch of hollow nonsense. Once again, to wrangle in Tolkien, the orc talk we were talking about, where it's just nothing, a whole lot of air.
Yep.
Betty doesn't care about that. She doesn't care about going on dates in the traditional nuclear family like sense that Gordy thinks you're supposed to do, because he's been brought up by a dad who has a deep sense of shame for anything personal and just wants the social approval of others. His girlfriend is doing her own thing the whole movie, and it's a great contrast to like, yeah, dude, the masculine quest you're on is a construction of men for other men about how to be a man, but it doesn't even consider what women actually want if you're looking to have a romantic relationship with a woman.
Men don't know what women want. Because they are men.
And Betty, just off screen, is a rocket scientist. She has her own career. She works in a hospital. She knows exactly what she wants. And the movie is kind of making fun of how masculine constructed cinematic narratives can be, and that all her growth and progression happens between scenes. So when we cut back, she's in a new phase of her life. Whereas Gordy, the whole movie, the central focus of the camera, just keeps fucking things up and getting in extremely weird and loud and messy situations. And it's all to impress his papa.
It's so good.
Yeah. So at the end, when Betty finally meets back up with Gordy, and he has succeeded in his quest, and he's gotten the jewels. Quite literally, he's gotten treasure on his quest. He has these jewels he's going to give to his girlfriend. He flies in on a helicopter with $1 million, a complete man by masculine paternal standards, and he goes, "Look, Betty, I brought the jewels. I got the jewel so we can finally be together. Isn't this what you've wanted, Betty? We can finally be together. Thinking they've never been able to be happy because he didn't complete his quest. And she simply goes, Gordy, I don't want the jewels. I just want to suck your cock.
That's all she wanted.
That's all she wanted. Like you don't need to go out into this world of fuck or be fucked like performance and lie and drive yourself to these absurd extremes for a hollow imitation of love. Like just talk to me as a person and see what I want. I don't want the jewels.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful lesson. Freddy Got Fingered is an underrated piece of comedy gold, and Rip Torn is a champion for being in it as Gordy's dad.
He's so funny.
Something that I really enjoy about it, sorry, I'm just kind of grinding out rupees as we close out the night here. I really want to get that bomb upgrade. Something I also really want to bring up about Freddy Got Fingered that's important to note and keep in mind as we talk about paternalism and patriarchy and all this stuff is Freddy Got Fingered's depiction of Gordy's father is great at having a complicated, fucked up, bad dad who's not like literalized into like a demon or Satan himself. Too many times these kind of stories can overtilt into the dad almost being like supernaturally evil or bad, straight up just like the Green Goblin, Norman Osborn. But the way Rip Torn plays this dad is you see that he's pathetic. This is also, to George Lucas's credit, a great aspect of Darth Vader. Like you see how pathetic this dude is and why he's doing these choices. He wants, this weird sense of approval from the Johnsons. He's embarrassed for his own family. He doesn't stand up for them, and it causes nothing but internal chaos and lots of gags with semen and animal penises. It's a wonderful movie. Again, I cannot stress enough how much you should look at Freddy Got Fingered and just think about the intentionality of how stupid it is. It opens with Tom Green doing some extremely sick skateboard moves in a mall.
Yeah.
And through that demonstration, he's kind of asking you to trust him. Like, hey, I know that we're going to be weird in this movie, but there's an underguiding purpose to it all.
Yeah, there is something here to
There's a competent hand guiding this ship. Just go for the ride with us.
Enjoy it with us, won't you?
Something you don't think about if all you're doing is following orders is things like prestige and class and what governs those forces. Something like Freddy Got Fingered can seem extremely low class because of its jokes and its humor, even though the kinds of puns and observations it's making are quite deep.
Yeah.
But again, if you're not deciding for yourself like what ideas are and just going off of signifiers, you're gonna hear the bad words, you're gonna see the horse penis, and you're gonna turn off what you're looking at. And yes, I did say horse penis. That is in that movie.
It's few movies dare to go there.
And while it is shocking, it also does circle back around when there's an elephant penis at the end of the movie as a sort of... It's symbolic of like the actual libidinal base, testosterone, dick-driven impulses of the male id, and what's really under the hardware when you strip away all the roles and all the gender ideology stuff. It's just, hey, you have urges and you want to bust on things, and at the beginning of the movie, Freddy's leading his father, and he sees a horse being handled in such a manner, and it excites him because it's the first time he's away from the gaze of his father, and he's seeing kind of like the animalistic phallus laid bare for what it is, like free of his parents' innuendo. He's gone out into the wild and like been stripped of that cover.
Yep.
And at the end of the movie, the phallus is used again, and it is Freddy mastering the cover of his own and using it to destroy his dad's constructed sense of self. Men fighting with men, just, yeah. One of the strangest uses of animal nudity in a movie, but also extremely on point.
Like, well executed.
And how many movies can you say that with? And yes, Freddy Got Fingered, as 3256 is pointing out, was added to the Criterion channel. It does not have a physical Criterion release, but it is on their streaming service.
That's great. And that really speaks a lot, because like, it really is a great piece of cinema.
And I mean, they released a Gummo 4K physically not too long ago, so one can dream.
That'd be so great.
Gummo, in its own way, presenting just the complete opposite of what we're doing here. Gummo is a world fallen apart, wrecked by a tornado. Two kids wandering around trying to just figure out how to live in this post-apocalyptic Midwest wasteland, and a lot of bad and graphic stuff in that movie. I say bad. I don't mean it's a bad movie. I just mean it's about social malcontent.
Situations you'd rather not find yourself in.
Just things falling apart. I really don't mean that again in a judgy way. I feel like I'm almost fash in saying it's about degens or whatever. I know that's been coded into a more reactionary term now. It's all...
Words are being twisted, and it's very annoying.
Especially because there's no consistency with those actually in power to deliver. Like,
Yeah.
I was seeing something about like there just being nothing on the bargaining table with China economically when a negotiation was going on. Like the U.S. legit doesn't know its own trade objectives right now when trying to bargain in a global economy.
Like, you can't, that's not bargaining. You can't. What do you mean? Like, we can't do anything if we don't know what our goals are. We're just pissing in the wind at that point.
Secret power is said to be in the arrow. Trade objective, survive.
Trade objective, USA. USA. Absolutely the energy we need. We're just always number one, even when we're not number one, because we're number one.
I want to end the night getting this bomb upgrade, which is why we are back here in level 5.
Nice.
I don't want to have to go back to anything.
Yeah, it's fair. Just jump right into it. I was gonna say, it made a lot of really good progress also in this game, man.
Yeah, so also notice how substantial this game is compared to Adventure, or even other NES games.
Yeah.
Again, it featured first NES game to have a battery on the cartridge so that you could save your progress instead of a password system as we've seen in Mega Man and the like.
Yeah, that's just so cool.
You did have to hold down reset when you turn the power off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I believe the way we got to the bomb guy was through. Yeah, over here. And like this dungeon theme gets reused.
Mm-hmm.
All of these tunes just become Nintendo standards. Franchise staples, as it were.
We need these bangers certified. Excellent. all of the health.
So I will have to work towards restocking my potion next time, but worth it. Worth it, I would argue.
Yeah.
Yes, I would.
Yeah, buddy.
Cool. A total of 12. Alright, so to recap, we have done the first 6 dungeons. We have the big shield, we have the master sword, we have all heart containers. I'm just gonna die actually, because I want to get out the fast way. And I don't care about the death counter at all.
I have no worries about it.
I have no worries that I will be reincarnated. I'm going to save. 10 deaths. Let's go. Alright, gang. As you can see, we have 2 pieces of Triforce left. Dungeons 7 and 8, which get much meaner, much crueler, and if I remember right, there's actually 2 items per dungeon from here on out. But we're gonna go ahead and call it a night there. Let me go ahead and pull up the couch.
Yeah. Guys, as always, thanks for coming and hanging out.
Yeah, this has been TechnoPoverty. We will be back Thursday at 7:30 p.m. CST to finish off The Legend of Zelda. Till then, take care, see you on the socials, and chill. Peace.
Sleep well.
Don't know what the proper sign-off should be yet, but we're testing a few things out as we play here. This is going to be the last game of our fantasy block before we take off. I guess I'll just talk a bit more about upcoming. Up next, we're going to be, as discussed during this stream, we're going to be playing Jet Set Radio Future, and we're going to be talking about Hunter S. Thompson. We're going to be talking about You Can't Win. We're going to be talking about gangs in New York. There's going to be some philosophy about law and justice that we're going to dive into as we look at countercultures and subcultures in Japan. It's going to be fun, but
That'll be a good time.
first we have to finish Zelda. We have to slay that pig demon Ganon. We have to get the princess, or else, we're not real adults. You're not a real adult unless you get all the things everybody else tells you to do. It's not about finding your own objectives. It's not about self-fulfillment and self-understanding. No, it's about doing everything everybody else wants for you. That is the lesson of Zelda, and that is why Link is the greatest protagonist of all time. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you later.
And we are live.
Yeah, it is Thursday, 7:30 p.m. CST, and that means it is time for TechnoPoverty. I'm Henry.
And I'm Jacob.
And we've been playing through The Legend of Zelda while talking about J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit, the obvious fantasy choice to pair with Zelda, but we're going to take some of the foundational stuff we were talking about last episode and use it to get a bit more creative with the books we talk about while playing Zelda today. So, just to recap, we're playing Zelda, we're talking about The Hobbit, we talked about Hundreds of Beavers in the context of Zelda as well, and just Hundreds of Beavers is a very video game-like movie. Of course, you can check out part 1 of our Zelda playthrough to get kind of the full spiel. I'm trying to keep these intros shorter and to the point. Today, in addition to what we've been talking about, I'm adding in Drive, 2011's, the cultural
vehicle.
The cultural monster from 2011, Nicolas Winding Refn's Drive, the beautiful Baby Goose movie in which he's a man of very few words, fewer active choices, and a whole lot of style. And if you're wondering what Zelda has to do with Drive, I think it's actually pretty obvious what we're going for here.
Yeah,
but what's interesting about Drive is there are books, Drive and Driven. James Sallis, he's a very pretty writer, is how I'll say that. And I hope that doesn't sound like mean or pretentious. I'm not trying to rag on him.
Go away with words.
But what Refn's doing visually, and also kind of how hollow the movie is, the book's very much the same thing, but with prose. So honestly, yeah, James Sallis, he writes some pretty sentences. Actually, because of the book Drive, checked out Driven, and I've checked out some of his other work, and he has some pretty fun quotes. Although I couldn't, for the hell of you, recount like his plots. But I don't know, I like his prose, and I think there's something to glean from that, as well as talking about Drive in reference with Zelda and the Hobbit. We're going to be talking a lot about like internality and choices and growth, and how fiction depicts growth versus the reality of growth, and the weird uncomfortableness there. Also, just the phenomenon of the silent protagonist, which is why I'm also bringing up Le Silence de la Mer, which is The Silence of the Ocean. It is a film by Jean-Pierre Melville. He is a French director from the mid-century. He's an excellent dude. One of my favorite directors as far as the French go, maybe one of the top French directors. He directed Le Samurai, which, funnily enough, Le Samurai is sort of the movie that Refn is riffing on with Drive, as far as the lone man with a mission in town. You know, a man of procedure. That's very much what Le Samurai is on as well. But Le Silence de la Mer, just to talk you through it, is about a Nazi occupying a farm in France during World War II. And the family he is watching over has chosen not to speak to him. And so it's a very fun, I say fun, it's as engaging as this kind of concept can be in a very meaningful way. In which, you know, this guy's not permitted answers or responses by this family. They just refuse to talk to him, and what that does to him as a person is very interesting. We'll talk more about that as we actually play the game. So without further ado, let's listen to this fanfare and get back into The Legend of Zelda. So, just to recount for those of you who aren't aware, I have to find the 8 pieces of the Triforce as Link to save the Princess Zelda from the evil King Ganon, who has the Triforce with power. The Triforce of Courage, nowhere to be spoken of yet in the lore. We're not going to worry about that. There's the Triforce of Wisdom, which we're assembling because Zelda broke it. And Ganon has the Triforce of Power, which is why he's the great king of evil. I've been roaming across the land, scouring dungeons. We have 6 of the 8 pieces of the Triforce. Let's fire things up and just look at my inventory to get back into it. So, we're trying to be as true to the original form as we can with these games, so instead of like save stating in the middle of it, I'm loading it up as I would load up an NES game back in the day. And so we have our Link here, who, it's cool that you can see that he's blue now, not green. I'm also decked out in my blue Link gear.
Nice.
That means I have the blue ring, upgrade defense. Look at all those hearts. You see the amount of deaths you've gone through in the game.
14 hearts?
Yeah, it just gives you a quick overview of like, hey, this player's left their mark. That's something, you know, Adventure couldn't do. A lot of games back in the day, every time was a fresh start, unless you played like a Mega Man with a password system or something. But here we are, back on the overworld.
What up, King of Mystery?
And yeah, we do have a rare smooth Hank today.
Yeah, Smooth Hank.
Yeah, it's been great. And same King of Mystery. I mean, I enjoyed Drive, the movie. I'm really interested in the book.
Honestly, flip through them really quick, Jacob, because they're both. Tell me what the page counts on those are, because they are both rather.
So they look
short.
like a quick read. Yeah, 150 pages.
And again, they're very pretty sentences.
Yeah.
Something I want to point out as we fire up Zelda here is just I'm doing an at-a-glance of my inventory to remember where I was and what I'm doing. And it is still fantastic how this game is able to convey so much growth through visual detail. Like, clearly my hearts are stacked, missing the 2 Triforce spots. A quick look over my inventory tells me what I'm missing. And I remember my next immediate objective, I'm gonna replenish my potions. I'm rolling around with 5 keys because I've been like meta. I know some meta tricks to where I'm not using all the keys in the spots they're needed in the dungeons, so I have 5 held over for the next dungeon. That's going to put me at a good advantage. And I did buy the bomb upgrade at the end there, so I think I've pretty much got most corners licked as far as what I need to do. I have to do the 7th dungeon, but I want to replenish my potions first. So let's get some rupees. Let's go. I think there's one secret still to really help me out here as far as collecting money goes. There's a hundo, I think, that I did not collect yet. So I'm going to venture towards that, get that hundo.
I like that in the back of Drive, they have a reading group guide of like
Yeah!
10 questions for your reading group after reading Drive, which I'm like, that's an interesting.
I also want to stop at a ferry.
Never seen that before.
Very Tower of Jiraga-esque. Jacob, if you were just off the top of your head asked to recount the movie Drive, how would you describe it in detail? What's the story? What happens in Drive?
Man, I honestly don't even remember, other than it was a movie telling of a stunt driver who moonlit as a getaway driver.
Yes.
I forget why he's getting them. I know that there was a reason for him to be leaving or trying to get out of the game or some sort of final job.
He worked for the mob, but he wanted to get away from the mob, and Bryan Cranston was like his mentor slash mechanic boss.
Yeah, they're like dynamic duo or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I did really like.
Yeah, it's a good friendship. It's the good texture of a friendship is what I'm getting at. So as I'm talking about being able to look at Link's discrete inventory and see where my progress in the game is, that's very like mechanical and chunky, and like that is growth of my spreadsheet, you know? Link hasn't really gone through any like choice decision path cutscene type growth throughout this game, has he, right?
Yeah, no, nothing in particular.
And I know that's something kind of haughty to ask of an NES game. Let's not get let's not tilt too hard against Zelda here. But what I'm just getting at is the game's made you feel like you've done a lot of progress. But the basic framework of the thing has still just been you're a boy adventuring to save a princess.
Yeah, and also, if anything, you've been going to various flea markets and getting sweet knives from different people.
Yeah. Damn.
That's it.
When you play, no wonder I like this game.
Which I loved doing as a teenager, don't get me wrong. It's a really fun thing.
There's like old men giving you notes that you give to other old people, and they just have like fucking health drugs for you.
Yeah, the weirdest stuff.
You know, you go behind the gambling place, and there's just this cave. Yeah, this is like, hey man, don't tell anybody about my meth lab. Like, okay man, here, thanks for the money.
We've also got Super Nintendos, so like, don't talk about the meth we have.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. Yeah, so 90s code to going to weird fairs and buying old weapons. Man, exactly. Like, I'm not a sword guy, but like, I wanted to be.
I do like being a sword guy at the fair though. Like the fair definitely encourages that mood and mindset, and it's,
yeah,
I love having a turkey leg and some mead, you know.
Yeah, I do like that there is like an outlet for sword people. I'm like, this is exactly where you all need to be, and it's fitting and it works really well. Otherwise, it's just like really weird, and you're like in Houston, just on the road. There's a guy with a sword. Exactly. The one episode of South Park where Butters gets this shuriken in the eye. Classic episode. Crying dog.
Barney, do you have to go outside?
Be right back, guys. Taking the tiny dog out.
Alright, I've restored my health. Yeah, Josh Foreman, send us a link to that post. I'm not clever enough to link to the past, pun that. My apologies, but no. Any time? I'll have Jacob take a look at that as soon as I'm done buying drugs from this old lady. He comes back from obeying our dog overlord. All right, and I did buy the food, so I think I'm ready to go to the next dungeon from here. So I asked Jacob earlier to summarize the movie Drive. I'm going to go ahead and run through my own summary of it now as we trek across the world to the next dungeon. Yeah, Jacob had it right. Ryan Gosling is a stunt driver in Hollywood who also does moonlighting as a driver for the mob doing crimes. He's the bestest boy at driving. The movie is not really about driving. There are two really good drive scenes, one at the start, one in the middle. But it's more just soaking in the romance of being that guy. He has to, he wants to get close to his neighbor, who's a single mom. But he's just very nonverbal. He doesn't say many things. I'm recounting Drive to them. But he starts a relationship with this mom next door, and he's just cool with her and the kid. But of course, there's no clean getaways, is kind of the general conceit of the thing. His mob life starts crashing in with his personal life, and then the two clash. He has to beat dude with hammers. He stomps a guy in an elevator. He's the supreme violence boy. Of note is that he has a jacket with a scorpion on the back of it. That is a running metaphor for the movie, the whole Scorpion the Frog story. It's within his nature to drive. He's the driver. It's what he does. He's going to be the violent, reflexive, sociopathic driver no matter how much he wants to be with the woman and be a domesticated man. It's, you know, it's noir, it's Western. I'm talking with a lot of genre terms and archetypical turns of phrase when it comes to talking about the mob and talking about being a stunt driver and kind of, you know, his essential cowboy nature is that he's torn between being domesticated and being this badass driver mob boy. Of course, I think he's like, you know, it's Ryan Gosling in 2011, so he's ambiguously mid-20s male living in an apartment with no family, so it's very easy to slot yourself in. What I'm getting at is he's more a vessel than a character. Much in the same way Link here is to be yourself projected into the game, so he doesn't talk much, he doesn't interact much. Jacob, one of the reasons I think Drive as a movie does so damn well with the dudes, or did so damn well with the dudes. I don't know, are Zoomers finding it on streaming and going like, I'm literally Drive, it's me, I'm Drive? I hope they are. I both hope, like, I hope they also don't have the sincere attachment. For those who were in college in 2011 when Drive hit, boy, were there some dudes. I guess they'd be like proto-chuds, you would call. Even well into like 2016, I remember being at a Power Trip show and there being a dude with a MAGA hat and a Drive jacket on in the mosh pit, and he got his ass stomped out of there before. Like, he was not there for the closing act, I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely incredible. Also, I'm looking at the artwork that Josh Foreman put up.
Yeah, shit, that's some cool stuff. Yeah, the snakes.
This helps me so much as well.
Before I get too derailed by it, so my thesis about why Drive was such a hit with the fellas, when we were talking about, you know, fictional worlds and places we would and wouldn't want to live, we were bringing up that there were threats, and a lot of places were in crises. The Pokemon world would be chill to live in, sure. The thing about Drive is, I think it hits the right amount of like romantic danger without being too scary. It's a cinematic narrative, but it's not pure fantasy. It's not about dragons. It's about living in LA and being quiet and mysterious, but like,
it's the achievable male fantasy.
I
can get a car and love it.
Yeah, it's a few degrees below the I'm going to stop the school shooter and all the girls are gonna blow me fantasy. Like, it is, you know, I'm going to be the cool guy down the hall who's just quiet and cool and mysterious.
Yep.
Maybe I'm in with the mob, but it's okay because I can handle myself. I'm a tough cowboy. I drive. Again, because he's the Scorpion in the Scorpion the Frog parable, and he's always going to be stinging. Dang, there's a fly in here annoying me. But because he's going to be that scorpion, he's always going to drive. He's always going to get away with it. He's always going to succeed. There's not like an arc of growth. It's just executing the fundamentals well. So in that way, it's a movie that eschews like a traditional kind of dramaturgical character growth, and it just tells dudes, just be cool. You have within you the scorpion. Just figure out what your stinger is and sting with it. But that's very similar to when a Zelda game's working versus when a Zelda game's not working, with the illusion of like power you're on. Some of them, again, make you feel like you're doing chore work. Others, you feel like you have some degree of choice in what's happening.
Yeah.
Drive is just mysterious and aloof enough to be like, oh, I could live that life.
Well, it's also, it keeps going on. It's easy to jump into as well, because like just boys' cars. That's always a fun one, because cars go vroom, and
Cars
that's real
do
fun.
go vroom, don't they?
Like, I will say this, I don't make fun of any dude who is just like racing his car and just revving his engine, but like when you do have a really fast car, all you want to do is go fast in that.
Yeah, I have been in the big truck, and I understand it makes you feel invulnerable.
But you know, you gotta keep it to yourself. You know, much like the sword bros at the Renaissance Fair, you gotta keep it in the appropriate places,
Yeah.
and they'll be appreciated. The emotional blank slate that the viewer can put on. I think honestly a lot of guys around that time were just also an emotional blank slate. So you can just be quiet, just wear a leather jacket and be cool.
Yeah. Dum, 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 dum. Yeah. They're just vibe to the music of the universe, man.
Man, Gordy Poppins, I agree with you about Baby Driver. Not really my thing.
Wait, what about Baby Driver?
Gordy Poppins says, you know what was not good, speaking of Cargo Vermin soundtracks, Baby Driver. Pretty boring. And I think you and I are in the very small group of people who do not like Baby Driver that much.
I enjoyed it, yeah, enough to buy a physical copy of it. I haven't seen it in a few years, though.
I will say though, it
I
has.
did like John Hamm in it.
Yeah.
I know it's marred by Spacey forever now.
I don't even worry about that.
Yeah.
Like,
I
Usual
do.
Suspects is a great movie, regardless of like whether Spacey is a horrific monster. And it was like, well, you know, certain moments. But like, I did enjoy the Mike Myers / Michael Myers joke in Baby Driver. That was just genuinely a hilarious joke that was like had been sitting on the table and no one grabbed it, and they grabbed it and it was great. So I really appreciate that.
There's a secret on the tip of the nose.
Drive Guy is who Joker Guy thought he was. Mysterious and quiet neighbor.
I do. That does pique my curiosity. The transition from Drive Guy to Joker Guy.
Right?
Is this the entrance?
The guys just want kind of like a little gothy thing to do. Like we don't have our Brandon Lee to be the Crow, so we're like we need.
That was Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, it's the closest we had.
Baby Driver, an intriguing one.
I've been meaning to see, what did he do last night? He did like a ghost story. I've been meaning to check out. Edgar Wright.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, I would be intrigued.
Because I heard it wasn't much like it was more a gothic kind of story than it was like a horror thing.
Oh, that seems kind of fun.
Was it Last Night in Soho?
I do need to rewatch Dracula, or Nosferatu. So I was very tired when I first saw it.
Definitely see Sinners. And they go together well. Which, chat, I don't want to spoil Sinners, but see Sinners.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Sinners. I think I'm going to see it this coming week. This next week, rather.
feed to dog with bombs.
Dang, you can feed it to him?
That's the method.
That's fucked up. I appreciate it though. And again, Josh Foreman, these claymation figures are fantastic. Like, this is some incredible work. Also, there's a really funny movie in there, and I thought that was great.
Alright, let's go north.
Get it. Oh, cool. Zelda's what got you into making games for a living. That's really cool. I've only just recently started kind of poking around
I would love
game development stuff. So that's real cool stuff. See you pop in and have fun. Thanks for swinging by. Again, guys, thanks for coming out to TechnoPoverty. Really appreciate it. Thank 15 folks. Barney also says hello. She's missed you all.
We're keeping her happy
Yeah, she's pretty happy right now.
so that she doesn't harass us.
Yeah, because violently, yes, we don't want that, honestly.
So, again, the whole drive as silent protagonist, empty enough a vessel to project yourself in, even with the addition of the context of the book, providing info on his parents and kind of more actual thoughts within Drive's head, it is still very much, they're pretty sentences. It's like playing Zelda. You're not necessarily seeing a character gain insights, you're seeing the heart meter go up. And this is something you see in a lot of video games today still. God of War comes to mind, is like having this huge menu of just like, you know, any game with a character tree and a discrete menu, really.
Yeah, just get more, get bigger.
And so, I don't know, maybe that's not one of the better aspects, I guess, of the game that carried on, but I do like the mystery aspects and the shared exploring aspects and the figuring out puzzles aspects of it.
Yeah.
Not so much the spreadsheetification of like collecting hearts and licking the corners. And
Yeah, there was
that's my one issue with the new ones, the Breath of the Wild ones and stuff, is it's after a point it's honeycombing the same type of quest all over the map.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
So you're just kind of doing the same thing in each
area.
in 16 segments. The Spider-Man game, the Insomniac Spider-Man game felt that way to me as well.
Yeah, that's one that I even tried going back to that the other night, and I was just not really compelled by it as soon as I was jumping into it. Just like, this gameplay loop is not that fun.
The worst aspects of that, I mean, I'm thinking like when we were playing Maximo, talking about the differences between like Maximo and Donkey Kong 64, and it's the same thing where, you know, Spider-Man or the newer Zeldas, it's like do everything in every corner, whereas Maximo, it's like here's a funnel, here's a rail, here's a guide.
Yeah.
It's that happy balance.
Yeah, Josh Foreman, I've always liked games where you explore a world more than watching a character have cutscene progression.
I like a mix of both, but yeah, I get you.
Yeah, I think typically I'm in a similar build. Like, I do like character progression and story progression on some stuff.
Yeah, as we play more Capcom games, I'll always wax about them having that right balance. For instance, I'll talk about like, you know, Mega Man balancing the boss selection with the curated level design, or the way Resident Evil makes you second guess or doubt your own choices in ways that add to the tension but still keep things on rails. There's just enough choice for it to be scary.
Yeah.
I do like Majora's Mask because it is one of the more open 3D Zeldas in ways that are surprising.
One game that I've been surprised how much I really liked the story was the new RoboCop game.
Yeah,
Or the new
you've been
world
getting good progress in that.
Yeah, I need to jump back into it, but so far it's been really fun and a really compelling story as far as like the inner workings of the RoboCop. I'm more compelled by the story than I thought I was going to be. First, I just wanted to blow everybody up and shoot everybody, which is also very fun, but it is fun becoming RoboCop. I'm excited for the new DLC that's coming out.
Where's the secret block? There's the secret block.
Give us your block. So what is the driven? What is driven? What is the secret? What happens? How do you?
It's more of the same, honestly.
Yeah.
I remember
like
there's
chapter
more
2.
roaming about. There's a bit with an adopted cat. It's honestly more excuse to get into the character mood and mindset and just be that driver boy. Again, it'd be like just adding more shots to Drive or remixing Drive as a music video because it's the texture of the thing.
Yeah.
To what extent is the driver an autonomous character? Okay, maybe I don't go this way.
Yeah, I'm definitely intrigued. Definitely want to read these at some point.
Yeah, Josh, I remember seeing that RoboCop remake in the theater and just the one scene where they strip him down to his bare component parts and he's just a lung is pretty cool. But I don't remember anything. I know Michael Keaton's in that movie and he's not even getting the like good ham to chew on.
I don't remember anything about that.
Sam Jackson is the like Sean Hannity-esque kind of like news commentator guy.
Oh wait, they're like 2005 or...
No, it was like 2000. I want to say it was like 2013.
Yeah, actually it was 2013. Yeah, but yes, I did see that one. I didn't care for that one. But I completely forgotten that I saw it.
That was a thing.
It really was, and it really shouldn't have
happened.
been.
Oh wow.
It had no reason to be. But it did make you...
There was
realize
also
just, like,
Total
how-
Recall, I think, before that.
Yeah, that was the other one that also... And that one had Colin Farrell, I think.
Why were they remaking Paul Verhoeven movies in the early 10s?
They were probably trying to retain rights, honestly.
That makes sense.
Because, like, the movies just really weren't that good.
I did like was it 2014 Fright Night remake? 2013 Fright Night remake?
Yes. The 2013 Friday
I
remake.
totally understand people who grew up with the original having their reservations, but I really do like that remake a lot.
Yeah, same. It just really got me by surprise. Seems like the 2013 Evil Dead or whatever.
I think the thing with the Fright Night remake, maybe I'm just partial to when it's done well, but like when a vampire metaphor, like especially like vampire's bad guy metaphor, is done right in the sense that it's not like a fear of the other, like just like racist, essentialist kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's bangers. It's perfect for like social commentary and kind of class disparity thematics and
Yeah. Oh, totally.
it's part of why like Sinners is so good.
I really didn't care for, what the fuck was it? True Blood on HBO.
Oh yeah, I never really watched that.
It was mildly entertaining for a minute. Then they got into very weird, like more magical elements, and it felt a little silly.
I think I pushed something, but also I may have messed it up.
We've made it to the tip of the nose.
Yeah, the nose has a secret. Yeah, I pushed one of these blocks. I have to kill the last one, probably.
That might make some sense.
There we go.
Get the fuck away from me, bats.
Too many.
Yeah, we don't need those bats. bouncing around. Like, what are they even throwing their boomerangs at?
Okay, I'm pretty sure the boss is right over here. They're throwing them at me.
At that point they were. Earlier they were just kind of throwing them